I didn't come to Thailand to find a young wife. I came because I was tired of being alone. She told me she didn't care about my age or my past. She said, I marry heart, not money. I believed her. I believed every word, every smile, every promise. And when I finally bought the land she wanted, she disappeared. They say love in Thailand is different. Maybe that's true. But what I found wasn't love. It was a lesson that cost me everything I'd saved for my old age. At 64, I thought I'd already learned everything life had to teach me. Then, a few days ago, I got an email from someone who's been following this channel for a few months now, not for long, but long enough to understand what these stories really mean. He said he'd been through something eerily similar. Same dreams, same mistakes, same kind of heartbreak that only happens when hope meets reality in a foreign land. When I read his message, I just sat there for a while. First, I felt a strange comfort knowing someone out there understood what it feels like to lose more than money, to lose trust. But the longer I stared at his words, the heavier they felt. Because behind every story like mine, there's another man sitting somewhere, wondering how love turned into a transaction. It reminded me why I started sharing these stories, not to complain, but to connect. To show that what happens here in Thailand isn't just about broken hearts, it's about broken expectations, and the quiet ways they change us. So, before we begin, I just want to say thank you truly to everyone who's been watching, liking, commenting, or quietly listening from across the world. You're the reason this channel still exists. If you're new here, hit subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. I read every message, and they mean more than you think. Now, let me take you back to where it all started. 2 heart surgeries, a bitter divorce, 35 years in the automotive industry grinding gears and designing transmissions for cars I'd never drive, and a pension that kept me comfortable but not wealthy. My son Michael called once every few months. Always rushed, always with an excuse about work or the kids or traffic. The house in Manchester felt like a tomb. Every room echoed with memories of arguments, slammed doors, and Catherine's perfume lingering in the curtains years after she'd taken everything that mattered and left me with everything that didn't. I'd sit in my chair watching the rain streak down the windows, counting the hours until bedtime, wondering if this was all there was left for men like me. Just waiting. Waiting for what? I couldn't say. Maybe death. Maybe nothing. That's when I started watching those YouTube videos. Retired men in Thailand, tanned and smiling on motorbikes, eating street food from carts, talking about how life was simpler there, warmer, kinder, cheaper. They made it look like redemption was possible, even for broken men with bad hearts and empty homes. A second act. A fresh start. They'd sit in outdoor bars with cold beers, surrounded by green mountains, and talk about freedom like it was something you could buy with a plane ticket. So I bought one. One way to Bangkok. I told my son I was taking an extended holiday. He said, "Good for you, Dad. You deserve it." He didn't ask when I'd be back. I didn't tell him I wasn't planning to. I wasn't running away. I was starting over, or at least that's what I told myself. Chiang Mai welcomed me with heat that settled into my bones like medicine I didn't know I needed. The airport smelled like incense and fried garlic. I took a red taxi to a small condo I'd rented online. Nothing fancy, just a studio with a bed, a balcony overlooking a temple, and ceiling fans that hummed through the humid nights like a mother's lullaby. I unpacked slowly, my hands shaking from jet lag or maybe just nerves. I'd never done anything this impulsive before. Catherine always said I was too cautious, too boring. Maybe she was right. But here I was, alone in a country where I couldn't read the signs or speak the language, and for the first time in years, I felt something close to excitement. I joined an expat meetup group I found on Facebook, mostly older British and German men who gathered at air-conditioned coffee shops to complain about visa runs, exchange rates, and the government back home. They had that weathered look of men who'd been here too long, skin like leather, eyes that had seen too much. They traded stories about renting apartments, avoiding scams, where to get decent fish and chips. One man, a former engineer from Leeds named Graham, pulled me aside after my second meeting. "You married?" he asked. "Divorced," I said. He nodded knowingly. "They'll smell that on you. Be careful." "Who will?" I asked. He just laughed and ordered another coffee. I spent my first month learning the rhythm of the city. I walked through night markets, weaving between stalls selling everything from fake designer bags to fried insects. I ate pad thai from plastic stools, sweating through my shirt while locals watched me with bemused smiles. I learned basic Thai phrases from YouTube videos. Sawat di krap. Kop kun krap. Good morning. Thank you. The words felt clumsy in my mouth, but people appreciated the effort. I found a small gym and started exercising again. Doctor's orders after the surgeries. I bought a bicycle and rode through the old city, past golden temples and crumbling walls, feeling the wind on my face. I felt alive. Not happy exactly, but alive. And that was more than I'd felt in years. I met her on a Tuesday afternoon in late March. I needed a haircut and wandered into a small salon tucked between a massage parlor and a 7-Eleven. The place smelled like jasmine and hair chemicals, with glossy posters of Thai pop stars on the walls. She was sweeping the floor near the entrance, her long black hair tied back in a ponytail, wearing a simple pink polo shirt with the salon's logo embroidered on the chest. When she looked up and smiled, I felt something shift in my chest. Not my heart condition, something else. Something I thought had died along with my marriage. "Hello, you want haircut?" she asked. Her English broken but confident, her voice soft. I nodded and sat in the chair by the window. She draped the black cape over me, and her fingers brushed my shoulders, light and careful. "You live here, Chiang Mai?" she asked, meeting my eyes in the mirror. Her face was open, curious, without the guarded expression I'd grown used to seeing on women back home. "Just moved here," I said. "From England?" Her smile widened, revealing small white teeth. "Oh, England, Manchester United, yes?" I laughed, despite myself. "Close enough. Manchester. But I'm not much of a football fan anymore." "No? You don't like football?" she asked, starting to cut, her hands deft and practiced. "Used to. Lost interest after the divorce. I don't know why I said that. It just came out." She paused, scissors midair, and met my eyes again in the mirror. "I sorry," she said. "Divorce. Very hard." "It's been a while," I said. "I'm okay now." She nodded and went back to cutting. We talked while she worked. She told me her name was Natida, but everyone called her Phi. It meant sky, she said, because she was born during a thunderstorm, and her mother thought the sky was angry. She laughed when she said it, a musical sound that made me want to hear it again. She told me she owned a salon with her younger sister, that she'd been cutting hair since she was 17. "I work hard," she said, spraying water on my hair. "Every day, no holiday. But I want big salon one day. Employ many women. Help them have good life." I found myself admiring her ambition, her earnestness. She wasn't jaded. She hadn't given up. When she finished, I looked in the mirror and barely recognized myself. I looked presentable. Maybe even decent. "How much?" I asked. 200 baht, she said. I pulled out 500 and told her to keep the change. She looked surprised, almost confused. "Too much," she said, trying to hand it back. No. You did a great job," I insisted. She smiled again, softer this time, and slipped the money into her apron. "You come back?" "Yes?" she asked. "I will," I promised, and I meant it. I came back 3 days later, and then a week after that, and then twice a week. Each time, we talked a little longer. She asked about my life in England, why I came to Thailand, if I had children. I told her about Michael, about the divorce, about the heart surgeries that made me realize life was shorter than I'd thought and I didn't want to waste what was left. She listened like she genuinely cared, nodding at the right moments, asking follow-up questions. "You strong man," she said one afternoon while trimming my sideburns. "Not many men start new life like you. Most men, they give up." I felt something warm spread through me. Validation. Recognition. Maybe even admiration. It had been so long since anyone had looked at me like I was worth something. One evening in early April, as she was locking up the salon, she turned to me and asked, "You want to eat dinner? I know good Som Tam place. Very cheap. Very delicious. I hesitated for half a second, then agreed. We walked through narrow streets lined with food carts and motorbikes, the air thick with the smell of grilled meat and chili. We sat on plastic chairs under string lights at a street-side restaurant that looked like it might blow away in a strong wind. She ordered for both of us in rapid Thai, laughing with the vendor like they were old friends. The papaya salad arrived, green and vibrant, and I took a bite. My mouth exploded. It was so spicy I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only reach desperately for my water. She watched me struggle and laughed, covering her mouth. "You okay?" she asked, her eyes bright with amusement. "I'm fine," I managed, coughing. "Just not used to it." She reached across the table and touched my hand, just briefly. "You brave. I like brave man." That night, walking her back to her motorbike parked behind the salon, she told me more about herself. Her father had died when she was 12, a construction accident that left her mother with 3 children and debts she couldn't pay. Phi and her sister had dropped out of school to work. "Life very hard for my family," she said, her voice quieter now, more serious. "My mother sells som tam on street for 10 years. I help her. Then I learned cut hair. Now I have salon, I help her. But still not enough." She looked up at me, her eyes searching mine. "But I never give up. I want better life. You understand?" I did understand. I understood what it meant to want more, to fight for something better. "You deserve better," I said. She smiled, but there was something sad in it. "You kind man, Harold. Not like other faring. Other faring, they come here, they think Thai girl easy. They think we all want their money. But I not like that. I work for my money." I believed her. God help me, I believed every word. We started seeing each other regularly after that, coffee in the mornings before she opened the salon. She'd meet me at a small cafe near my condo, her hair still damp from the shower, wearing jeans and a t-shirt instead of her salon uniform. We'd sit and talk about everything and nothing. She taught me more Thai phrases. "Pom, raccoon, I love you." She giggled when I pronounced it wrong. "No. No. Like this. Rack. Short sound." I tried again. She clapped her hands. "Good. You learning." We'd walk along the Ping River in the evenings, watching the sun set over the mountains, the sky turning orange and pink. She'd point out temples and tell me their histories. Stories I couldn't verify but wanted to believe. She refused gifts at first, which only made me want to give them more. When I tried to buy her a silver necklace at a night market stall, she shook her head firmly. "No need, I happy just spend time with you." That refusal made me trust her more. She wasn't like the stories I'd heard from other expats at the coffee shop, stories of bar girls who drained bank accounts and disappeared. Phi was different. She was hardworking, sincere, grounded, independent. One night in early May, sitting on a bench by the river, she turned to me and said something that changed everything. "Harold, I want you to know something important." Her face was serious, almost solemn. "I meet many Farang before. They want girlfriend, they want fun, but they not want real relationship. They think Thai girl only want money. But I not like that." She took my hand. "I don't need your money. I have job. I have salon. What I need is someone who see me. Really see me. Not just Thai girl. But me. Natida. And I think you see me." My throat tightened. I did see her. I saw her strength, her resilience, her dreams. I saw someone who made me feel alive again. "I see you," I said. She leaned her head on my shoulder. "I just want your heart, Harold. Not your wallet." I believed her. I believed every word. And that belief would cost me everything. By December, we were inseparable. She introduced me to her friends, other salon owners and shop workers who greeted me with friendly curiosity. They'd ask her questions in Thai, and she'd laugh and swat them away. "What do they want to know?" I'd ask. "They ask if you good boyfriend," she'd say, grinning. I tell them yes. "Very good." She took me to her favorite temples, Wat Phra that Doi Suthep on the mountain, Wat Chetty Luang in the old city. She taught me how to weigh properly, how to light incense, how to make wishes. She taught me to cook simple Thai dishes in her tiny apartment, a studio even smaller than mine, with a hot plate and a fan and posters of Thai movie stars on the walls. I met her mother in November. We drove 3 hours to her village in Konkayan, a small cluster of wooden houses surrounded by rice fields. Her mother was a small, weathered woman who looked much older than her years. She greeted me with a "why" and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. We sat on the floor of her house, eating sticky rice and grilled chicken while Phi translated. "My mother say you good man," Phi said. "She happy. I find someone take care of me." "I'm happy to meet her," I said. The mother said something else longer this time, her eyes fixed on me. "She say she worry about me," Phi translated. "She say life hard for Thai woman, she want me happy. She say you seem like good man. Not like other man I date before." I felt a swell of pride. I felt accepted. I felt like I belonged. On New Year's Eve, we went to Wat Phra that Doi Suthep to watch the fireworks. The temple was crowded with locals and tourists, everyone pressing together in the cool mountain air. We lit candles and placed them among thousands of others, tiny flames flickering in the darkness. Phi closed her eyes and whispered something in Thai. "What did you wish for?" I asked. She opened her eyes and looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "I wish for future. Good future. With someone I love." My heart pounded, not from exertion or illness, but from hope. "I wish for that too," I said. She leaned close, her breath warm on my ear. "Next year maybe we marry. If you want." I couldn't speak. I just nodded. She kissed my cheek, soft and quick. "I never meet man like you before, Harold. You give me hope. Make me believe good men still exist." In February, she started talking about the future more seriously. We were having dinner at her favorite restaurant, the same som tam place we'd gone to on our first date, when she brought it up. "Harold, I want to talk about something," she said, pushing her food around her plate. "I have dream. Since I girl. I want open big salon. Not small like now. Big one. Maybe 10 chair. Hire other women, train them. Give them good job." She looked up at me. "I save money for long time. But land price going up. If I wait too long, maybe I never can do it. How much would you need?" I asked. She hesitated. "It expensive. Maybe need buy land first. Land in my province, near my village, then build salon on land. I already talked to builder. He say maybe 3 million baht for everything. I have some money save. Maybe 700,000 baht. But still need more." I did the math quickly. 3 million baht was roughly 70,000 pounds. A huge amount. But I had savings. About 85,000 pounds. Most of it from the sale of my share of the house after the divorce. It was supposed to be my retirement cushion, my safety net. But what was I saving it for? To die alone in England with a full bank account. "Let me help," I said. Her eyes widened. "No, Harold, too much. I cannot ask you." "You're not asking. I'm offering." I reached across the table and took her hand. "We're partners, aren't we? If this is your dream, let's make it happen together." She teared up, actual tears running down her cheeks. "You really trust me that much?" "Of course I do." She took me to meet a man named Somchai 2 weeks later. "He, my friend," she said as we walked into a cafe in Chiang Mai's business district. "He work in real estate. He help people buy land. Very honest man." Somchai was waiting for us at a corner table, a man in his 40s wearing a pressed shirt and expensive-looking glasses. He stood and waved when we approached. "You must be Harold," he said in nearly perfect English. "Phi told me about you. Please, sit." We sat, and he pulled out a folder filled with documents. Phi showed me the land she's interested in. Very good location. Near main road, good for business. Price is fair, especially now. Market is moving fast. He spread out maps and photos. The land looked like every other plot of empty dirt I'd seen in Thailand, but he assured me it was prime real estate. "How much?" I asked. 1.3 million baht for down payment. Secure the land. Then you pay rest over 1 year. That was about 30,000 pounds. A third of my savings. "Can I see the land first?" I asked. Somchai nodded. "Of course. We can go next week if you like." But Phi squeezed my hand under the table, her grip tight. "Harold, if we wait too long, maybe someone else buy. Seller want decision fast." Market very hot now. I looked at her worried face, the desperation in her eyes. She'd worked so hard. She'd fought her whole life. I didn't want to be the reason her dream fell through because I was too cautious. Okay, I said. Let's do it. I transferred the money 3 days later. 1.3 million bought from my Barclays account to a Thai bank account Somshai provided. The transfer fee alone was nearly £300. Phi was with me at the bank when the confirmation came through. She cried, hugging me in front of the tellers and other customers. Thank you, thank you, thank you, she kept saying. I never forget this. You change my life. You make my dream real. That night, she cooked for me at my condo, a special meal she said her mother used to make on celebrations. We ate and drank cheap wine and talked about the future. Maybe in 1 year, we open salon, she said, her eyes bright. You help me manage? You good with numbers, with business. We can do together. I'd like that, I said. She leaned across the table and kissed me. I so lucky I meet you. You best thing happened to me. For the next few weeks, everything felt perfect. She showed me photos of the land, though we never visited. Builder already start clearing, she'd say, showing me pictures of dirt and tractors. She talked about timelines, materials, hiring plans. I felt useful, involved, needed. But then, slowly, things started to change. Her messages came less frequently. Busy with builder today. Mama need help. Talk later. Sorry. So tired. Talk tomorrow. When we did talk, she seemed distracted, checking her phone, glancing at the time. I told myself it was normal. She was managing a big project. But doubt crept in like cold water, filling the spaces her absence created. One afternoon in mid-March, I went to her salon unannounced. I needed to see her, to reassure myself everything was okay. Molly, her young assistant, looked surprised when I walked in. Kun Harold, hello, she said brightly. Is Phi here? I asked. Her smile faltered. Phi not here. She go Kon Kayan. When will she be back? Molly glanced at the other stylist, an older woman who suddenly became very interested in sweeping. She not say. Maybe 1 week, maybe 2. She have family problem. What kind of problem? Molly shifted uncomfortably. I don't know. She not tell me. I tried calling Phi immediately. No answer. I sent messages. Is everything okay? Do you need help? Please call me. They were delivered. Read. But no reply. Panic set in, cold and sharp. I spent the next 2 days in my condo staring at my phone, willing it to ring. When it finally did, I answered before the first ring finished. Phi? Harold. Her voice was flat, tired. I'm sorry I not answer. I very busy. Is everything all right? Molly said. You had a family problem. Yes. My mother sick. Need help her. Do you need money? Should I come there? No. You stay Chiang Mai. I handle. Something in her tone made my stomach turn. When are you coming back? I don't know. Maybe few week. I call you, okay? I have to go now. She hung up before I could respond. I couldn't take it anymore. I booked a bus ticket to Kon Kayan for the next morning. The journey took 6 hours, 6 hours of watching rice fields and small towns blur past while my mind raced through worst-case scenarios. I arrived in the late afternoon, the air thick and humid, the city bigger and busier than I'd expected. I took a motorbike taxi to her village, using the address she'd given me months ago. The driver dropped me off on a dirt road lined with wooden houses on stilts and rice fields stretching to the horizon. I asked an elderly woman sitting under a tree if she knew Natida. She pointed toward a house at the end of the road without saying a word. I walked slowly, my heart hammering, my mouth dry. When I reached the house, her mother was sitting on the porch, fanning herself. She looked up and saw me, and her expression didn't change. No surprise, no welcome, just a blank stare. Sawati crap, I said, approaching. Phi here? She shook her head and said something in Thai I didn't understand. I pulled out my phone and showed her a photo of Phi and me together. She sighed deeply and called someone inside. A young man appeared, maybe early 20s, wearing a tank top and shorts. You looking for Natida? he asked in accented English. Yes. I'm Harold. Her boyfriend. He glanced at the mother, then back at me. She not here, she go city. When will she be back? He shrugged. Don't know. Maybe today. Maybe tomorrow. I decided to wait. I found a cheap guest house in the village, a concrete room with a fan and a hard bed. I sat on that bed for hours, trying to call Phi, trying to understand what was happening. Finally, as the sun was setting, I asked the guest house owner if he knew where I could find Somchai, the real estate agent. He gave me a puzzled look. What Somchai? He handles land sales. For the salon. He shook his head. No Somchai here. Maybe in city. My stomach dropped. The next morning, I went back to her mother's house. The young man from yesterday was outside, washing a motorbike. Can I ask you something? I said. He looked wary but nodded. The land Phi bought. The land for the salon. Do you know where it is? He frowned. What land? My hands started shaking. The land near here. We bought it 2 months ago. For a salon. He looked genuinely confused. No land. My family owned this area. Nobody sell anything recent. But there were documents. Maps. Photos. He shrugged. I don't know about that. Maybe you talked to Natida. I spent the rest of the day in a daze, walking through the village, asking people if they knew about any recent land sales. No one did. I went back to the guest house and sat on the floor, my mind refusing to accept what I already knew. She'd lied. All of it, the land, the salon, the builder, all lies. And I'd given her 30,000 pounds. That night, I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, replaying every conversation, every promise, every smile. How could I have been so stupid? How could I have missed the signs? But deep down, I knew. I'd wanted to believe. I'd needed to believe. Because believing meant I wasn't alone anymore. The next morning, I went into Chiang City. I spent hours walking through markets and cafes, showing people Phi's photo, asking if they'd seen her. Most shook their heads. Some looked at me with pity. Finally, around noon, I walked past a coffee shop near the university and saw her through the window. She was sitting with 2 other women, all of them laughing, scrolling through their phones. She looked relaxed, happy, unburdened. When she looked up and saw me standing outside, her face froze. The laughter died. She said something to her friends, and they quickly gathered their things and left. I walked in and sat down across from her. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Harold, she said quietly, what you doing here? Looking for you. My voice was shaking, but I kept it level. Your mother said you were in the city. I busy. I tell you I call you. Where's the land, Phi? I asked. She looked up, her eyes guarded. What you mean? The land we bought. The land for the salon. I went to your village. No one knows anything about it. She looked away, out the window. I can explain. Then explain. She sighed, a long, exhausted sound. I use money help my family. My mother very sick. Need operation. I tell you this. You told me the money was for land, for the salon, for our future. I know. Her voice was small now. But my family need help. I have no choice. You had a choice. You could have told me the truth. She finally met my eyes. And you give me money? If I say my mother need operation? No. Farang don't like give money for family. But for business, for future, they give. I felt something crack inside me. So you lied. I do what I need do. Her voice was harder now. Defensive. You don't understand. You Farang. You have pension. You have house in England. You have security. I have nothing. My mother have nothing. My family have debt. What I supposed to do? Let them suffer because you feel bad? I would have helped if you'd asked. No, you wouldn't. She said it with such certainty that I almost believed her. Almost. You still love me? I asked. The question came out broken, desperate. She paused, her eyes softening just slightly. I like you, Harold. You good man. Kind man. But love? Love not enough when you need feed your family. Love not enough when your mother dying and you have no money for hospital. Does she even need an operation? She didn't answer. That was answer enough. What about Somchai? What about the documents? Somchai, my cousin. He helped me make paper look real. He feel bad, but he need money too. I stood up. My legs felt weak, but I forced myself to move. Goodbye, Phi. She grabbed my wrist. Harold, wait. I'm sorry. I really am. But you have to understand this not personal, this just life here. This how we survive. I pulled my hand away. Congratulations. You survived. I walked out of the coffee shop and didn't look back. I stayed in Konkan for 2 more days, trying to figure out what to do. I met with a lawyer recommended by the guest house owner, an older Thai man who spoke good English and looked at me with tired sympathy. You have documents? He asked. I showed him everything. The transfer confirmations, the maps, the photos, the contracts. He examined them carefully, then handed them back. These not legal, not real contract. And land ownership for foreigner. Very complicated. Cannot own land in your name. Must be Thai person. It was in her name. She said we'd do it legally. He nodded. Yes, but you have no legal claim. She owned nothing. Paper is fake. Money is gone. There's nothing I can do? You can try police, but cost money, take long time. Maybe years. And even if you win, she have no money. Cannot get money back from person with no money. He leaned back in his chair. You not first foreigner this happened to. You not be last. Sorry. You learn expensive lesson. I paid him 5,000 baht for his time and left. I flew back to Chiang Mai in a daze. I couldn't think straight, couldn't eat. I'd lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation, every touch, every promise. I kept asking myself the same questions. Did she ever care? Was any of it real? Or was I just a mark from the beginning? A lonely old man with money and no one to spend it on. The answer didn't matter. The result was the same. But then, a week after I returned, my phone buzzed with a message from Phi. My heart jumped before my brain could stop it. I opened it. Harold, I'm very sorry for everything. I know you angry. I know you hurt. But please, I need ask one more thing. My mother really sick now. Doctor say she need operation or she die. I need 50,000 baht. I know I have no right ask you, but please. I beg you. She only mother I have. I stared at that message for hours. I should have blocked her. I should have deleted it and moved on. But I didn't. Because part of me, the pathetic, desperate part, still wanted to be the man she'd once smiled at. The kind man. The generous man. The man who could save her. So I sent the money. 50,000 baht. Roughly 1,000 pounds. The transfer went through at midnight. She replied 3 minutes later. Thank you. You save her life. I never forget. Take care, Harold. That was the last message I ever received from her. I moved to Hua Hin 2 months later. I couldn't stay in Chiang Mai. Every street, every cafe, every salon reminded me of her. I needed to be somewhere else. Somewhere I could breathe. I found a small studio apartment near the beach, a quiet building full of retirees and long-term tourists. The rent was reasonable. The view of the ocean was peaceful. I sold most of my belongings, keeping only what I could fit in 2 suitcases. I had maybe 20,000 pounds left in savings. Enough to live modestly if I was careful. Enough to survive. I joined a local expat club. A group of older men who met every Thursday at a beachside bar called the Sunset Lounge. They were all versions of me. Men who'd come to Thailand for different reasons but ended up with similar stories. A woman. A promise. A disappearance. We'd sit around drinking cheap beer, trading cautionary tales like war stories. One man, a former banker from London, had lost his house. Another, a retired teacher from Australia, had lost his business investment. They all laughed about it bitterly, the way men do when they've been humbled by the same lesson. One evening, a man named Alan, a retired school teacher from Liverpool with a gray beard and kind eyes, asked me what I'd learned from it all. That I was lonely enough to believe anything? I said, staring at my beer. He nodded slowly. We all were, mate. That's not stupidity. That's hope. That's being human. You can't blame yourself for wanting connection. I gave her everything. I said, not everything, he replied. You're still here. You're still breathing. That's not nothing. I thought about that for a long time. Maybe he was right. Maybe I hadn't been foolish. Just human. I'd wanted connection so badly that I mistook transaction for affection. I'd wanted to matter so badly that I ignored every warning sign. But I didn't regret coming to Thailand. I regretted not trusting myself. I regretted not listening to the quiet voice in the back of my mind that knew something was wrong but was too afraid to be alone again. Some nights I still think about Phi. I wonder if she feels anything. Guilt. Regret. Satisfaction. I wonder if she used the money the way she said she would. I wonder if her mother really needed an operation or if that was just another lie to squeeze out a few more pounds. I wonder if she's moved on to another lonely foreigner, another man looking for hope in all the wrong places. I hope she's happy. I genuinely do. Not because I forgive her. I'm not sure I ever will. But because holding on to anger would only hurt me more. She took my savings, but she didn't take my ability to care. She didn't take my capacity for kindness. I just wish I'd saved a little of that compassion for myself. I started volunteering at a local animal shelter in Hua Hin, a small concrete building filled with stray dogs and cats that tourists abandoned. I'd go 3 times a week, helping clean cages, feed animals, walk the dogs along the beach. It felt good to be needed for something simple, something without hidden motives. I taught English to a few neighborhood kids, meeting them at a coffee shop twice a week. They'd practice their pronunciation while I practiced my patience. Their parents would bring me fruit and thank me in broken English. It felt genuine. I learned to cook properly for the first time in my life, following YouTube tutorials for Thai and Western dishes. I made mistakes, burned things, oversalted everything. But I learned. I made friends in the Expat club who didn't want anything from me except conversation and company. We'd meet for coffee, play cards, complain about the heat and the traffic and the government back home. It was simple, honest, real. Slowly, I rebuilt something that felt like peace. Not happiness. Not yet, but peace. A quiet acceptance of what had happened and what came next. I learned that love doesn't always fail because someone is cruel. Sometimes it fails because we want to believe so much that we stop seeing clearly. I learned that loneliness makes us vulnerable, but it doesn't make us weak. And I learned that starting over doesn't mean erasing the past. It means accepting it, learning from it, and choosing to keep going anyway. I learned that the opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. And slowly, I was getting there. I didn't wish harm on Phi. I didn't fantasize about revenge. I just didn't think about her as much anymore. She was becoming a story I told, a lesson I learned, a chapter that closed. One afternoon, sitting on my balcony watching the waves crash against the shore, I thought about what I'd say if I ever saw her again. I wouldn't shout. I wouldn't demand my money back. I'd simply say, I hope you used it well. Because in the end, that money represented something bigger than a scam. It represented my hope, my willingness to trust, my desire to be loved. And those things can't be stolen. They can only be given away. I gave them to the wrong person, but I still have them. And one day, maybe I'll find someone who deserves them. Or maybe I won't. Maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is that I tried. That even at 64, broken and scared and alone, I still had the courage to open my heart. That has to count for something. I called my son Michael for the first time in months. Dad, he said, surprised. How's Thailand? It's good, I said. Different but good. You sound better, he said. Lighter. I am. I realized. I think I'm finally figuring things out. Good. I'm proud of you, you know. Not everyone has the guts to start over. We talked for an hour, the longest conversation we'd had in years. He told me about his kids, about work, about his wife's promotion. I listened, really listened, without the distraction of my own loneliness pulling me away. When we hung up, I felt something warm in my chest. Connection. Real connection. Not based on need or transaction, just love. Simple, uncomplicated love. A few weeks ago, I was walking through the night market in Hua Hin when I saw a woman who looked like Phi. Same height, same build, same hair. My heart jumped before I could stop it. But when she turned around, it wasn't her. Just someone who reminded me of her. And in that moment, I realized I was okay. I was okay with not knowing where she was or what she was doing. I was okay with never getting an answer or an apology. I was okay with the fact that some people come into your life to take, not to give. And that's their burden to carry, not mine. They say love in Thailand can heal a man's heart or break it in half. Mine did both. I came here to find peace, and I did, eventually. But not before learning the difference between love and loneliness dressed as love. She married my money, not me. But I still hope, one day, she finds what I thought we had, something real. Something true. Something that doesn't disappear when the bank account runs dry. And I hope I find it too. Not with someone else, but with myself. Because that's the only love that's ever truly mine to keep. The only love that can't be taken away. The only love that matters when everything else is gone. I'm 64 years old, and I'm starting over again. But this time, I'm starting with myself, and that feels like enough.